Feel good once again, too excited to get this series started. Now we're going to actually be getting the solutions today. After this, we're going to be getting, the topics today and identifying the topics and issues that we're going to get the solutions. So I can't wait. That's coming soon. And if you ain't excited then, somebody needs to check your heart rate. Anyways, getting forward here, this is Lupe Delgado here. This is Innovative League 2012 and beyond. Hello, America, and anyone else listening around the world. I mention around the world because as this unity builds, we want to eventually bring together the whole world, because this is true unity needed to truly ensure humanity's future for sustaining life, which will be discussed in greater details in a later series. Moving on, in the first two videos, everyone got a little background on me and the purpose of this movement, the intelligent-based movement. In addition to this, we also learned the importance of innovation, that it not only creates millions of jobs, but it also creates jobs that are here to stay. Furthermore, what it also does is create the products of the future, and also the products that will be in great demand, and also will support a strong price at the same time for these products. In addition to all this, this will be created from organic, real, sustained growth. And the majority of these jobs also will be good-paying middle-class jobs. So, and the last thing about it all, there's so many benefits, is this rapid job growth will be able to keep up with the rapid population growth of the world. So as everyone can see, this is a win-win-win-win-win-win-win scenario on an exponential scale, okay? So it's a no-brainer to our future. Moving forward, we need innovation, innovative products, solutions, and services. So from this point on, the series will be solely dedicated to focusing on identifying the topics and issues through factual resources, and then again, illustrating a vast number of innovative solutions that will show how we can move society forward with efficiency and with clear factual logic. Moreover, move society into the future. Last thing prior to getting started, if anyone has any solutions to any of these issues facing society, then please email or tweet me, which I provided at the end. I would love to hear from you. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. First thing I want to do is go ahead and talk about income inequality, because right now there is a real need to even the playing field. Nothing against the rich, they just have been able to benefit in all this government debt that's created through these tax cuts and stimulus plans over the last 30 years. As you can see, our debt was falling and falling and falling for many decades. This was the World War II debt. And then around the 70s, it started to bottom out, and here you see is where it actually started in the 80s, because we used tax cuts, during that time to stimulate the economy, but it also put that on the back of the average American taxpayer. Taking a second look at this, you can actually see the dollar form during the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and 80s. Again, if you want a clear look at any of these, email me. I'll send it to you. You're going to get the email at the end. But you can see we were about $250 million for a long time, what we owed. And then all of a sudden in the 80s, it increased to $1 trillion, then $2 trillion, $3 trillion, $4 trillion. And it's on its way ever since, to where we stand today at $16 trillion. The problem with that is that we owe as much money as we make every year. We're at 100% at the GDP. That is very dangerous. That is a danger zone, and that's why we're going to spend a lot of time on that, because we must address it, because it will damage everything else for everybody. So first thing to look at is this is from the CBOE. Over the past 30 years, the income of the top 1% has more than tripled, but the income of those in the middle and the bottom rose only modestly. You can see the top 1%, their income rose at 241%, and the top fifth, theirs rose at 89%. Both these way outpace inflation. Now the middle fifth and bottom fifth, where most of us stand, we saw over this 30-year period a 19% and 11% rise respectively. But the bad part about that is that does not beat inflation, so you're actually making less money than you did in 1980. Moving over to the next chart here, this is from the IRS. you can see that the average tax rate for the highest income taxpayers has been going down for the last 60 plus years. You can see the chart right here from the IRS to where we are today, that they're paying near their bottom. So take another look at it where all the distribution of wealth is. Top 1% own 35%, top 4% own 27%. Added together, that's 72%. This number is actually higher today. This is 2007 numbers, by the way, just to let you know. Where else is this going? Well, some of this has also gone to CEOs and pay. 60s and 70s, you seen they were making 30 to 40 times the average worker's pay. By the 1980s, that started to rise exponentially until eventually reaching as high as 300 times the average worker's pay. Currently, today, it sits at over 200 plus times the average worker's pay. Another place to look at it is this right here. You look at the last 100 years of the top 1%'s share of the total income pie. Well, there's one other time in history where they compare to today, and that time in history was around the administrations of Teddy Roosevelt, Woodrow Wilson, and FDR, and other great presidents that had to even out the playing field. Well, guess what? We're at that same place again, where the top 1% are controlling 20% of the income. One out of every $5 made in this country, it goes to just the top 1%. So that's all I'm saying. You know, since most of this government tax cuts went to the wealthy over the last 30 years, we just need a windfall profits tax, you know, something of 5 or 10 years, you know, as, you know, looking back through history, as many great wealthy people have understood in America's past, that they understood preserving America's future was also critical to protecting their long-term wealth. For example, look at J.P. Morgan. Yes, the founder and eventual where we get J.P. Morgan Bank. He understood this in the late 1800s and early 1900s. He had to help out the U.S. government. First thing he did is he had to loan all his gold to the U.S. on a very generous 30-year repayment plan because the U.S. government was in danger of defaulting on their debts and they could not get any funds. Then 10 years later, the economy was held hostage by a too big to fail company. Sound familiar? Yeah, there was something we face today. He came in and bought the company and immediately brought the economy back to stabilization. For those two events, he was well looked at and well loved by the American people, and well respected. And 10 years later, when the idea of Federal Reserve came up, he was also an instrumental spokesman in bringing it about, which the Federal Reserve is one of the two key reasons that has been able to stabilize our economy, unlike the stabilization. All I'm saying is that just what we need from the wealthy is just appreciation, understanding of the situation, and this is just the time to help your country. I'm not condemning the wealthy. Again, I encourage it. I myself want to have monetary financial security in my lifetime. As a matter of fact, opportunity for prosperity is one of the great things about this great nation. And furthermore, this just will be a time for everyone to step up and contribute what valuable means you can to your neighbor. All right, so now let's move on to the next subject, to tax reform. The main thing about tax reform is we do not want a flat tax rate because it is not beneficial to America as a whole, because this takes away the incentive to invest here on the homeland, and it makes it more liable for the money to move to other rapidly growing economies. And what that does is cause our asset prices to deflate. So what we need is a fair tax system that would even the playing field for the top 5%. Maybe we have a tiered system, top 5% pay at a higher rate, the highest rate, and we just move our way down as we go down the bracket. A lot of people might say this will slow investment, but this will not if we create an investment for environment with new cutting-edge technologies for investment in addition to correctly incentivize investment in business to unlock the trillions of dollars of capital that's sitting on the sidelines that can be unleashed in the economy and will stimulate growth in our economy for a big expansion. Proof is, look at the 90s. The only time innovation, which was the internet and computers, led our economy in the last 50 years, was also the same time in the last 30 to 40 years that everyone's paid the highest taxes, including the job-creating rich. So that clearly it's going to be through innovation. Now, what are these cutting-edge technologies? Well, you will